Hey, it's Liz from No Trace. I have another fun scrap busting project for you. It is a roller skate shaped zipper pouch. This is a really great size for your sewing scissors, but obviously it would hold all kinds of little things and it's just super fun to make. So let's go. Let me show you what you're gonna need to make a little roller skate zipper pouch. So the first thing that you're gonna want is the downloadable pattern. The link to get this, it's free, it's on my website. So just click in the description box below this video to snag the pattern. And there's actually 2 pages to the pattern. And if you want to create a roller skate that has different colored wheels, you're gonna print out this pattern as well as this pattern. But if you just want to make your roller skate a solid color, you only need to print out this page of the pattern. This is the pattern that I'm going to walk you through today. You'll also need a 7-inch zipper. You'll also need some small pieces of fabric. You're going to need fabric for the outside and the inside of the roller skate. You're also going to need some cotton batting. This is optional, but if you have some buttons lying around, you can also use those for this project. The first step is to cut out your pattern piece. Like I said, I am just going to make my next roller skate pouch out of 1 piece of fabric, so I cut out this pattern piece. Then I want to trace this pattern piece onto my outer layers of fabric. Now, depending on the size of fabric that you have to work with, you might have to cut this out of 2 separate parts of your fabric. If you have enough fabric to bring it together and cut it out at the same time, you're going to want to bring the right sides of your fabric together so that you're going to get a mirror cutout of your roller skate on 2 pieces of fabric. Okay, so you want 1 piece of fabric where the roller skate is pointed this way and the other piece where the roller skate is pointed this way. So I'm going to go ahead and trace this onto these 2 parts of my fabric and cut it out. I finished tracing this pattern piece out onto my outer layers, so I have 2 mirror images. I also cut out my 2 liner pieces of fabric, and I cut out 1 piece of cotton batting. Next, I'm going to take 1 of my liner pieces. So I'm picking the side that's pointing to the left, and I'm going to quilt it onto this cotton batting. At the machine here, I've bumped up my stitch length to my longest, which is 5 millimeters. And then you can do any kind of quilting pattern that you want. I'm just going to sort of trace the outline of the roller skate I'm going to trace the shoe part, and I'm going to trace the wheels. Okay, I've got this quilted, which I know you can barely see, but you just want some stitches so that the batting stays connected to this layer. And next, if you want to add some buttons, you can do that at this point. And the way I would recommend doing it is just laying the buttons out and getting them a way that you like. And then you're just going to want to mark with chalk where your buttons are. And then you can just go and hand sew your buttons onto your roller skate. Or if you want to use your sewing machine, you can do that. So I'm just going to hand sew these 4 little buttons on. Again, this is totally optional. Okay, I finished hand sewing 4 buttons onto the roller skate. And again, you can skip the buttons, you can add more buttons, you could even sew a little string onto there, so get creative. In the next step, we are going to attach the zipper to 2 pieces of our roller skate pattern here. So we're gonna take the outside layer with no buttons or quilting, and 1 inside layer that matches the outside layer when they are right sides together. Okay, so you want the pretty sides together. And then we are going to measure 2 inches over from this back edge of the roller skate, and we are gonna cut a straight line down both of these pieces of fabric right there, 2 inches from that edge. So this is a little bit easier if you have a measuring cutting mat and a ruler. And I'm gonna do it carefully here. Okay, so now I have 2 pieces of the striped side and 2 pieces of the inside. I'm gonna lay my zipper down right side up underneath the outer layer of my fabric. And this is how I want to attach my fabric to my zipper. So let's start with this side. I'm gonna move this aside for now. I want this edge to be right side together with this side of the zipper. That way when I sew it and I open it up, it'll lay in the right direction. So I'm gonna go ahead and clip this in place. Then I'm gonna get the liner piece that matches, and I'm gonna add this into the clips and make sure that the liner fabric is lined up with the outer fabric. So I'm gonna sort of check the points here, make sure they are aligned with each other at the top and the bottom. At the machine, I have my zipper foot in place and I have my layers clipped in here. So I'm just gonna sew straight down this edge with about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. The first 2 sides are attached to the zipper. So now I'm gonna go through those same steps with the other 2 pieces of fabric. And I wanna make sure to line up these pieces of fabric with the fabric that's already sewn on. So I wanna make sure that these bottom edges are lined up, and clip this onto the other side of the zipper. And then I'll add the liner fabric and sew them on. And I will also sew these on with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, all 4 pieces are attached to the zipper. I'm gonna take a minute and press the fabric really well on the top and the bottom, and then I'm gonna top stitch this outer layer of fabric. Next, I'm gonna construct the loop that goes at the top of the zipper. Now this is optional, and you could make your loop any size or shape that you want. I like to have a loop that is wide enough to kind of catch those top ends of the zipper. So if you wanna make a loop like this, it is 2 inches tall and 4 inches wide. So I'm just gonna cut down a little scrap of fabric to make a rectangle that's 2 by 4. And I'm going in the same direction as my main fabric, but obviously you could use, you know, a different fabric for the loop, or you could make your print go in a different direction. All right, so we've got our little rectangle. And next we want to iron it into a loop shape. So all you gotta do is fold it in half so that now you have a 2 by 2, and press it with the iron. Open it up and bring the raw ends to that center crease. Press it with the iron. And then fold the whole thing in half, press it with the iron. And then I'm just gonna top stitch the 2 long sides of this little piece of strap. All right, my loop is done. So now we're ready to put all of the pieces of our roller skate pouch together. And the first step is to fold this loop so that the folded edge is pointed down towards the bottom of the roller skate, and to clip it on to the top end of the zipper. And you wanna line up the loop with the edge of your fabric, not with the zipper. We're gonna trim off the extra zipper there. So I'm gonna clip it in place, make sure my zipper is open about halfway, and now I'm gonna place the other side of the roller skate right side together with this side. And then I'm gonna take my other liner piece and I'm gonna place it wrong side together on top of the other outer layer. And now we can clip this together and take it to the machine. At the machine, I have my presser foot back in place, and I want to sew with the zipper side up so I can keep an eye on that, especially because I'm working with a metal zipper and I don't want to hit it. I am going to sew with about between 1/4 and 3/8 inch seam allowance here. I'm going to take my time, I'm going to go all the way around, and I'm going to follow all these little turns in the pattern. So let's get started here. At the first turn here, I'm going to lift my presser foot. I have a knee bar, which makes that easier. And I'm just going to do a couple of stitches. And then I'm going to start following. I'm going to pivot it again. I'm going to start following the curve of the wheel. Taking my time. Now I'm at the zipper here. I'm going to sew over this spot a couple of times just to reinforce it. And I'm just going straight across the zipper here, making sure not to hit that metal. And then just keep turning. And now I'm getting close to the other end of the zipper where I have my loop. So I'm taking my clip off, and then I just want to make sure everything is lined up nicely here. And I'm going to actually sew over this area a few times as well. And this will help reinforce that loop. And do be careful, it's a little bit bulky. I have broken a needle doing this. Okay, and now I'm just gonna finish up and end my seam where I started. And of course, I'm gonna lock that in with a couple extra stitches. Okay, don't skip this next step. Take a moment and make sure you caught all of your layers in your seam. If you missed a spot, just go over it and make sure that you catch it. So you can just sort of peek all the way around that you caught all your fabric. All right, by some miracle, I think I caught all my layers. Usually I have 1 or 2 spots I have to reinforce. This time it looks like I don't. So now I'm gonna get my scissors and I'm just gonna trim the extra fabric off away from my seam. And of course, I'm gonna save all my tiny bits in my tiny bits bin. Since I work with all natural fibers like cotton thread and cotton fabric and linen and cotton batting, all of these little bits can be composted. I also repurpose them and use them as stuffing. So don't forget to save those tiny bits. Once the extra fabric is trimmed away from the seam, I'm gonna take a minute and cut into all of these little corners. So I'm just gonna get my scissors and just very carefully snip till I'm just about touching the thread, but I don't wanna actually cut my seam. So I'm gonna go around and do that here. And I'm gonna do it up here and at the back of the roller skate, right back here. Actually, I need to trim a little bit more of this off and get right into there. And then I also want to trim off the points. So wherever there's like a little right angle in my seam, I'm going to trim that off also. Now that everything has been trimmed and snipped, we are ready to finish this raw edge with a zigzag stitch or a serger. And I'm going to show you what you do when you get to these little spots. Okay, I'm at one of these spots where I snipped into the corner. So this is the front end of the roller skate. So I'm going to go forward with my zigzag stitches and then go back a little and stop, and then start a new row of stitches. So basically I don't want to sew a continuous line of zigzag stitching here. I'm just going to go back and stop. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to pick up here and keep going all the way around. That way my bag can kind of flex right here in when I turn it right side out. So I'm just gonna pick up right here, and I'm gonna do that at the other little snipped spots on my bag. Okay, my beautiful zigzag stitching is done. So all that's left to do is turn it right side out, and I'm gonna need my handy dandy chopstick to get into some of these nooks and crannies. I'm gonna press it really well and wait for the grand reveal. It's finished! It's so cute! This would make an awesome gift for somebody who likes to roller skate. And like I said, the free pattern is on my website. The link is in the description box below this video, so go ahead and snag it.